the cost of carrying the wrong emotional load. Today's focus is on emotional boundaries and discernment. And I'd like to say welcome to Everyday Wisdom with Martins Toluhi. This is a space for professionals, entrepreneurs, leaders, and purpose driven individuals who know that they are made for more, but they want to pursue it with clarity, wisdom, and intention. As we begin this year, the question is not what you want more of. The real question is, how do you show up for more? Because nothing changes until you do. Not all emotional weight is yours to carry. Let us sink in. This sounds simple, but it is one of the most quietly draining truths many capable people overlook. Because many people are not overwhelmed by their own responsibilities. They are indeed overwhelmed by emotional loads they never consciously agree to carry. They carry other people's expectations, for instance, unresolved guilt, imagined responsibility for outcomes they cannot control, emotional tension that does not belong to them. And so over time, that weight becomes familiar. And what becomes familiar often goes unquestioned. That's why we want to pause here. But familiarity does not make a burden healthy. Think about that for a moment. And here is the danger. When you carry emotional weight that is not yours, a few things happen. Your energy leaks, your joy diminishes, your focus fragments. Not dramatically, but gradually. You still function, you still show up, but something inside you is always tight, always braced, always slightly tired, even after some rest. Many high capacity people confuse emotional responsibility with emotional maturity. They believe if I don't carry this, I am being selfish. If I don't manage everyone's emotional temperature, I am failing as a leader, they tell themselves. But that belief quietly turns empathy into exhaustion, if not checked. So let's be clear. This is not about becoming cold, you see. It's not about detachment, and it is certainly not about indifference. So, discernment is the wisdom to know, on one hand, what you are responsible for, and on the other hand, what you are only to be aware of. And this is a big difference. Leadership absolutely require empathy, but empathy without boundaries does not deepen leadership. It erodes it, as a matter of fact. Because when you carry what is not yours, you begin to make decisions from guilt, not clarity. You overextend instead of prioritizing. You hesitate when decisiveness is required. And slowly, leadership becomes heavy instead of being grounded. So here is a question worth sitting with. Why am I carrying these? You've got to ask yourself. Not who gave it to me? No. Not who caused it, but why did I take responsibility for it? Sometimes the answer is fear. Sometimes it is approval seeking. Sometimes it is habit forming. And sometimes it is simply unexamined loyalty. One of the most mature things you can learn to say internally is this. For instance, I can care without carrying. You can be present without absorbing. You can support without rescuing. And you can listen without internalizing. That distinction is not selfish, it is stabilizing because you've got to stabilize to be able to help as much as you can. When you carry the wrong emotional load, three things happen. First, your energy is spent managing emotional weight instead of building capacity. Secondly, your attention becomes divided because part of you is always holding something unresolved. And thirdly, your sense of agency weakens because you feel responsible for outcomes that are not fully within your control. That's not strength, my friend. That's silent depletion. This year, clarity will require new questions, not just what should I do next, but things like what is mine to carry or to do? What am I holding out of habit rather than calling? What emotional load am I permitted to release without explanation? These are things you need to consider. Those questions are not avoidance, they are alignment. It helps you to reset yourself. And when you release what is not yours, your shoulders relax, your thinking sharpens, and your decisions regain firmness. Not because life gets easier, but because you are no longer misallocating emotional energy. You are properly aligned. And here is a quiet truth worth remembering every time as you go into your day. You cannot show up fully for what matters while carrying what was never assigned to you. Lightening the load does not weaken you. It does, as a matter of fact, strengthens your capacity. And capacity, not pressure, is what sustains more. So as we begin to wrap up to close, as you move through the day, notice what you are carrying emotionally, mentally, and internally. Not everything you feel responsible for belongs to you. Clarity begins when you discern the difference. Show up lightly, show up wisely, and let alignment, not guilt, set the weight you carry. We will continue tomorrow.